Good evening, everyone. I'm Colin Gasick. Now, I'm just curious, when is the last time you ate a grilled cheese sandwich? The reason I ask is I know growing up I used to eat grilled cheese sandwiches all the time, along with nice little tomato soup or even just plain, who knows. They were delicious. But then I reached my teenage years and I kind of stopped eating grilled cheese sandwiches. Luckily, I have kids now, and guess what? They love eating grilled cheese sandwiches. So what I'm going to do today is show you guys how to make the perfect grilled cheese sandwich. So what you're going to need to start this off are the supplies. Just a regular small little pan, a spatula or even a butter knife will do. I use the butter knife, it's less of a mess. And then you're going to need a plate for afterwards, and then 2 slices of bread, 1 slice of cheese, and some butter. So what I'm going to do now is get my pan, put it on the burner, and get the heat going to about a 4. About a 4 to a 5, which is like medium. So I'm going to get it right to about a 4 or a 5. And then I'm going to take my bread, which I have right here, and I'm going to butter it. Now when you're buttering your bread, you want to make sure that you evenly coat as much of it as you can, but you don't want to put too much butter, because that can actually cause your bread to get soggy. And I don't know about you guys, but soggy grilled cheese is not that good. You know, it's a mess. You get greasy hands, you got oil everywhere, you got cheese melting all over you. So enough to coat it, but not to really cover it too much. Alright, so I got my 2 slices of bread, I got my pan preheating. So now what you gotta do is take one of those slices of bread, butter side down, right onto your pan. Now that's going to start warming up, and while that's warming up, you get a piece of American cheese. Any kind of cheese will do. American's just a classic. Some people like the white American, the yellow American. You can even get fancy, throw a little Gouda on it, who knows. So what I do now is I'll put the cheese on it. Now I'll give the bread a little bit of a spin. And I do this because you don't want it to get stuck to the bottom of the pan. When your bread gets stuck to the bottom of the pan, it's going to rip off, and it's going to make flipping it over that much harder. So keep it mobile. Keep it moving. Get that butter spread all over. Once you have it mobile a little bit like this, and it's able to move, I'll take the next piece of bread, the butter side up, and put it right over the top. So now, I've got my sandwich pretty much prepared. But it's all very loose. Nothing's really holding it together. The cheese isn't melted yet. The bread's still cooking. So I'll take my butter knife or a spatula, and I kind of press down right along the edges. And this kind of helps connect the bread together, kind of starts to form the pocket in the middle full of cheesy goodness, and keeps everything intact. Alright, so now I got that moving a little bit. Make sure it's keeping mobile, it's not stationary, it's kind of sliding around on my pan. That's good, that is what you want. And it's just about ready to flip over. So what I'm going to do is just make sure the edges are kind of connected good. Now you could flip it traditionally with the spatula, or you can get fancy, which by the way, I love the fancy. So what I'm going to do is give it a quick little flip like that. And you can't see, but it's like a perfect golden brown. Might need to cook a little bit more on this side. Actually, you know what? Maybe you can see. Got a little bit of browning. A little bit of browning. So now we're going to let it seal into each other, you know, both sides together. The cheese inside's getting all nice and bubbly, getting that bread all stuck together. What I'm going to do, maybe I'll crank the heat up. Now, normally when you're cooking, you want to go low and slow, because this stuff can burn fast. So be careful with your gauges. I just pumped it up to a little bit closer to the medium, which is about 5, just because for time's sake, I want to make sure this is cooked in time. But anything too high, and you start seeing smoke, that's bad. You do not want to see smoke, so keep an eye out for it. Alright, so it's now everything's kind of keeping together. It's nice and compressed a little bit. Give it a nice little flip, and as you can see, this side's browning just as it should. And now I just got to give it some time. Tonight, I'm just doing the grilled cheese. I don't have any soups going with it or any other extras. Maybe I'll make a dessert later on. Who knows? Get some hors d'oeuvres going. I don't know. We'll see when we have time. But for right now, this grilled cheese is the main focus. And I think it's coming great. I mean, I'm actually kind of going a little too low, so there's going to be no burn. It's going to be nice and grilled to perfection, nice and brown. Oh, yeah. See, even just that little bit of extra time, it's already starting to brown on the edges. And that's really all it takes. It's just a little bit of patience, a little bit of elbow grease, and some bread, butter, and cheese, and you got yourself a perfect grilled cheese in the works. Now what I'm doing right now is just applying some pressure to it, just kind of all throughout. That's going to help get the edges down, because you don't want the edges to be not cooked and then the middle to be all cooked. So kind of keep it nice and uniform. Give it another nice little flip. Perfect. As you can see, it's really starting to brown nicely now. So I think it's actually just about done. Make sure everything's nice and compact. Give it a nice little, make sure it's not sticking. And then flip it right over onto your pan. Now from here, turn your stove off, safety first. You can actually go ahead and cut into and enjoy that steamy grilled cheese goodness. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Delicious. So I hope you guys had fun. I hope you learned how to make a great meal. And I will talk with you all later.